You're holding your Social Security check, only to realize it's not enough to cover the rent. Now you're facing two cruel choices: cut back on food and medicine, or lose the home you've lived in your entire life. Don't worry, you're not alone. Millions of Americans are struggling with meager pensions and small Social Security payments, living under the constant fear of tomorrow's rising prices. Retirement has turned into a daily battle for survival. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Step outside the US and in the right countries, that same never enough money suddenly becomes the key to an entirely new life. With less than $1,500 a month, you could live in a spacious apartment, shop at markets overflowing with tropical fruit, and even have extra cash left over for travel. It's absolutely real. Whether in the Philippines, where 7,000 islands turn retirement into a never-ending vacation, or Colombia, the city of eternal spring, with its mild climate and top-rated healthcare in South America. But hold on, that's just the beginning. On today's list, there's one final country where your modest pension doesn't just cover the basics, but transforms into a golden ticket to live a lifestyle more luxurious than back in the US. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end to discover which country it is. If you believe retirement should be lived to the fullest, hit like on this video. Leave a comment saying, "I choose freedom," and subscribe so you won't miss the next secrets to finding your own retirement paradise. Dream it, pack it, go. 5. Philippines. The island paradise for retirement. Can you believe that with just $100 or $200 to $2,500 a month, you could trade your current life for an entirely different one? A life filled with golden sunshine, turquoise seas, and the warm smiles of people always ready to lend a helping hand? In the US, that same amount might barely cover rent for a cramped apartment and a few utility bills. But in the Philippines, it can truly make you feel wealthy. You could rent a neat apartment in the capital city of Manila for around $370, or head to peaceful seaside towns where it's even cheaper. Eating out with fresh seafood often costs less than the fast food burger you grab in New York. And internet, utilities, transportation, all come at prices so low you'll rub your eyes to make sure you're not dreaming. In the Philippines, every dollar stretches 2, even 3 times farther than back home, turning your once fragile retirement budget into a red carpet that rolls out endlessly before you. But the Philippines isn't just about affordability. Behind those numbers lies a policy that feels almost tailor-made for international retirees. The government only taxes income earned within the country, which means your pension or Social Security checks from the US are completely off-limits to the tax office. You can breathe easier, knowing the money you worked for all your life won't be eaten away a second time. And if you want to stay long-term, the SRRV, Special Resident Retirees Visa, is practically your golden ticket. As long as you are over 50, have a minimum pension of $800 per month, or savings in the bank of about $10,000 to $20,000, the doors of the Philippines will stay wide open forever. No need to wait for years. No need to go through complicated legal loopholes. You can live here for life, re-enter freely, and even enjoy many special benefits, from discounts on public services to simplified administrative procedures. How many countries dare to be this generous? A big question still lingers. What about healthcare? Does cheap mean poor quality? Surprisingly, in Manila or Cebu, you will find private hospitals that are modern, gleaming with steel, no different from the West. Many doctors have studied in the US or Europe, speak fluent English, and are ready to explain every detail to you. A doctor's visit costs only about $20 to $50. a price that in the US wouldn't even get you through the door. Local health insurance is also just about $100 and $300 per month, affordable even with a modest pension. And because of this, the Philippines has become a familiar destination for medical tourism, where many Americans, Australians, and Europeans fly in just to receive health care at a third of the cost back home. The only small note, in rural areas, hospitals are not as modern. So if you choose the Philippines, stick to the major cities where healthcare is strong enough to give you peace of mind in retirement. Of course, life is not just about hospitals or wallets. Safety is always something people weigh. And here the picture has many shades. Manila, Cebu, Davao, where expats are concentrated, are fairly safe, with troubles usually limited to pickpocketing or petty theft. But if you go further, to Mindanao or the Sulu Islands, you'll hear the U.S. State Department warnings. Conflict, terrorism, kidnappings are still present. That means choosing the right place to live is the key. If you stick close to the expat community and stay in familiar areas, the Philippines will welcome you with open, safe arms. Still, what keeps people here is not only cost or easy visas, but the softer things that are hard to name. The gentle smiles of the locals, the widespread use of English so you never feel lost, the endless beaches where the sand is as fine as powder. Palawan, Boracay, Cebu. Names that alone make your heart race. And above all, the large expat communities in Dumaguete, Baguio, or Manila itself, making it easy for you to find friends, companions, and familiar stories even while you're halfway across the world. I once met an American uncle in Dumaguete. He retired on a pension of only about $300 a month. It may sound modest, but do you know what he told me? He said, "In the US, $1,300 is just enough to pay for my medicine and electricity bills. But here, I rent a small house near the beach. I get fresh fish delivered to my door every morning, and I still have money left to go to karaoke 4 times a week." Then he laughed heartily, showing off his not-so-sweet singing voice, making the whole little roadside cafe clap along. He jokingly said, "I didn't come to the Philippines to live longer, but to live happier. In the US, I felt like a shadow inside a bill. Here I feel like a star in a karaoke bar." However, no paradise is perfect. The Philippines carries a flaw that anyone has to accept: natural disasters. On average, about 20 tropical storms sweep through every year, sometimes mild showers, but at times strong enough to devastate entire coastal regions. Sudden earthquakes have also occurred, reminding people that nature here is both breathtaking and harsh. And of course, infrastructure in many coastal areas is still weak, causing life to be disrupted after every storm. If you choose the Philippines, you must learn to live with nature, or choose cities with stronger construction foundations to reduce risks. But just think about it. Is there anywhere else in the world that gives you this much for just a fraction of the cost back home? A place where every morning you don't have to stare at bills, but only look out the window to see waves crashing onto white sand. A place where your dollar suddenly becomes the ticket that brings you closer to the dream of living slowly, living fully, living joyfully. And if you worry a little about storms, perhaps that's exactly what makes life here more dramatic, giving you another story to tell. The Philippines is not perfect, but maybe it is that very imperfection that makes it a true paradise for those who dare to step outside their comfort zone. So what do you think? Is it worth betting your retirement on a land where the dollar grows stronger than ever, where smiles and golden sunshine are always right at your doorstep? 4. Ecuador, the land where the dollar stretches twice as far. Ecuador is also a multicolored picture. To the west lies the vast blue Pacific Ocean, to the east the mysterious Amazon rainforest, and right in the middle the towering Andes, with ancient villages and a mild climate all year round. The Galapagos, the world's one-of-a-kind natural paradise, is just a short flight away. It's no surprise that tens of thousands of Americans have chosen this place to write the final chapter of their lives, with Cuenca emerging as the retirement capital of South America. If in the U.S., $1,500 is barely enough to juggle utility bills, a few rare meals out, and forget about having anything left for travel, then in Ecuador, $1,500 per month covers everything for one person: rent, food, transportation, entertainment, a number that makes anyone who had to pinch pennies in the U.S. open their eyes wide. Social Security money suddenly opens the door to a life of abundance. Imagine, you and your partner renting a two-bedroom apartment in Cuenca for only about $750, waking up to sip fragrant local coffee for just $1, then strolling through the market to pick fresh vegetables, meat, and fish at half the price of back home. In some quieter regions, you might need only about $300 a month to have a roof over your head. What makes Ecuador attractive is not only its low cost of living, but also its retiree-friendly policies. The government actively encourages foreigners to settle, especially seniors. Income from foreign pensions or Social Security is not taxed, and retirees enjoy a 50% discount on airfare, utility bills, and public service fees. Just imagine, even traveling domestically from the Andes to the Pacific coast saves you a considerable amount. And if you are patient, after 2 years of legal residency, you can apply for permanent residency, opening the door to long-term stability for the future. The Jubilado visa, also known as the retirement visa, is far from out of reach. You only need to prove an income of about $1,380 per month, rising slightly to $1,310 in 2025, a requirement that many Americans receiving Social Security can easily meet. If you own real estate worth $100,000 in Ecuador, the income requirement drops to $750 per month, so easy that many joke, just one rental house back home is enough to fund the South American dream. And what about healthcare? Surprisingly, Ecuador ranks among the top 20 most efficient healthcare systems in the world, according to Bloomberg 2024. A general doctor's visit costs only $20 while a specialist visit ranges from $40–$80. Public insurance, IESS, is just about $70–$80 per month for seniors, and private insurance is also affordable, $50 to $150, depending on age. Many doctors in Quito, Cuenca, or Guayaquil have studied in the US, Cuba, or Europe, and they speak English quite well. For the price of just one restaurant meal in New York, you can take care of your health like royalty. Of course, no place is perfect. Ecuador still faces political instability, and protests can erupt unexpectedly. Petty crimes such as pickpocketing and snatching exist in big cities, and the U.S. government often issues increased caution advisories. But most expats agree. As long as you choose safe areas like Cuenca, Otavalo, or Salinas, and keep basic vigilance habits, Ecuador remains a paradise worthy of being called home. An old American man I once met in Cuenca said, "Back home, every time I opened my electric bill, it was like a stab to the heart. Here, I pay half the money, but I get to live twice as much. Twice the sunshine, twice the friends, twice the joy." Then he laughed, raised a glass of mango juice that cost only 50 cents, and added, "The only expensive thing in Ecuador is if you don't come here sooner." So what do you think? Can $1,000 or $1,500 per month, money that in the U.S. sometimes only covers medicine and electricity, turn into a paradise of life in South America? If you feel Ecuador could be the land where your dollar stretches twice as far for your retirement, leave a comment. Would you rather live in the Andes Mountains or along the Pacific coast? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories. Who knows, the next country I tell might be the very place you'll call home. 3. Dominican Republic. The Caribbean Bargain. If you've ever dreamed of a life where you wake up in the morning to the sound of ocean waves, then the Dominican Republic is the place that makes that dream real. With just about $200 per month, you can leisurely enjoy life in the Caribbean, a place where white sandy beaches stretch endlessly, the sea is crystal clear, and the sun is warm almost year-round. Many expats in Sosua, Cabarete, or Las Terrenas often joke, "Here, I spend less but live more." In reality, even if you want a more comfortable apartment near the beach, a budget of $2,500 to $2,000 per month is more than enough for a dream lifestyle, covering food, entertainment, and even a few domestic trips. Financial policies also make the Dominican Republic a real bargain. The territorial tax system means that income from your pension or Social Security in the U.S. will not be taxed here. The government also has the Pensionado Visa program. Just show a retirement income of $1,500 per month, plus about $250 for a spouse, and you can apply for temporary residency, then gradually move toward permanent residency. In addition, if you have income from rental properties or investments, the rentista visa is also widely available. Some people even choose the citizenship by investment route, buying citizenship through real estate investment, quick and clear, suitable for those who want to shorten the residency path. Healthcare is easy to manage. Private doctors in Santo Domingo often speak English, and a visit costs only $20–30. Private insurance is $50 to $150 per month, so cheap that you might want to frame your old U.S. hospital bills and hang them as a keepsake of the past times. Expat beaches like Sosua, Las Terrenas, or Punta Cana are fairly peaceful, but keep an eye on your wallet. Otherwise, you might lose it while dancing merengue without even noticing. And don't forget, from June to November, it's hurricane season, when the Caribbean sometimes decides to throw a party. Strengths: crystal clear waters, lively expat communities, and locals so welcoming they might pull you into a BBQ the first time you meet. Biggest weakness? Tropical storms. But locals see them as an excuse to drink rum by candlelight and sing away the wind and rain. I once asked an American retiree in Las Terrenas, "Aren't you afraid of hurricanes?" He laughed loudly. "In the U.S., I was afraid of bills. Here, the only thing I'm afraid of is drinking too much rum." So what do you choose? Living in the U.S. with a mountain of bills, or living in the Dominican Republic with ocean waves and the occasional spicy storm? Share all your thoughts in the comments. Tell me where I might be wrong. I'll be grateful for that. 2. Colombia. Land of eternal spring. If you've ever dreamed of a place where you never need air conditioning or heating, just open the window and let in the cool breeze, then Colombia is that dream made real. Here, the cost of living is up to 60% lower than in the U.S. A couple can live comfortably on $500 per month, renting a cozy apartment for $300–600 in Medellin or Bogota, starting their mornings with fragrant Colombian coffee and a warm arepa for less than $2. Many expats even joke, "In the U.S. I could barely afford Starbucks, but in Medellin that same amount keeps me in coffee for a whole month." What makes Colombia especially appealing is its more breathable visa policy. The Pensionado Visa, M11, only requires proof of retirement or Social Security income of about $750–970 per month. That means just a small portion of a typical U.S. pension is enough to qualify for legal residency here. The process isn't overly complicated. A 3-year visa can be renewed, and after 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency. The real investment isn't money, but patience. Colombia's healthcare is another bright surprise. The World Health Organization once ranked it higher than both the US and Canada for overall quality. In major cities, hospitals are modern, doctors are often US or Europe trained, and many speak fluent English. Costs are shockingly low. Only $10–20 for a doctor's visit, with national EPS insurance priced at just $30–80 per month. The country itself dazzles with its variety. The turquoise coasts of Cartagena, the majesty of the Andes, the mystery of the Amazon, and above all, Medellin, the city of eternal spring, where year-round temperatures hover between 21–28 degrees Celsius. Not as sweltering as the Caribbean, not as freezing as North America. It feels like living inside a natural air conditioner. Colombian culture is the spice that makes so many expats fall in love. Salsa, coffee, fresh flowers, colorful festivals. People here are welcoming, ready to pull you into a dance just minutes after meeting you. An American once shared, "I came to Colombia just to retire, but I ended up being taught salsa by my neighbors, and now every evening I have to practice like I'm going to the gym." Of course, Colombia is not an absolute paradise. The biggest downside remains crime, mostly theft, pickpocketing, and sometimes violence in certain areas. The U.S. State Department continues to advise caution when traveling. Put humorously, in the U.S. you fear bills, in Colombia you fear leaving your phone unattended. In short, Colombia is one of the brightest choices for Americans wanting to retire on a modest budget. Low costs, easy visas, top-tier healthcare, pleasant climate, and vibrant culture. A country where every morning you wake up not only to the sunrise, but also to the sound of salsa drifting through your window. Have you visited any of these countries yet? Tell me in the comments below. I'll be reading every single word you write. 1. Panama. Gateway to Latin America. Retirement paradise. If America makes your head hurt with taxes, bills, and numbers that never seem to go down, then Panama feels like a long-term resort, a place where the US dollar still holds its value, but everything costs 40–50% less. With about $1,400–$700 per month, a single person can live comfortably, while a couple only needs around $2,000–$3,000 to cover rent and enjoy a generous lifestyle. In the capital, Panama City, rental costs can be higher, $800–$1,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment. But just a short step away to areas like Boquete, Coronado, or David, you'll find $500 per month apartments. So nice your friends back in the US might mistake them for luxury Airbnbs. What makes Panama legendary among expats is the pensionado visa. By simply proving a minimum pension of $1,000 per month, or just $750 if you've bought a home, you're immediately handed a golden ticket. Long-term residency, access to the healthcare system, and a list of perks that sound like a joke. 25% off domestic flights, 50% off movies, and even discounts at the dentist. One retiree once joked, "In the US, I had to think twice about buying a movie ticket. But in Panama, tickets are so cheap I go 3 times just to nap." Healthcare in Panama is strong enough to make you confident about signing up for long-term living. Modern private hospitals, plenty of English-speaking doctors, many trained in the US. A regular doctor's visit costs only $10–$20. Local insurance runs $50–$90 per month, and international insurance is about half the price compared to the US. Panama is also one of the most stable countries in Central America. Compared to its neighbors, major unrest is rare. Of course, there are petty thefts in crowded tourist areas, and the Darien jungle is strictly off-limits due to smuggling activity. But living in Panama City, Boquete, or Coronado, you only need the same basic level of caution you'd use in any big city. Another unbeatable advantage is that Panama uses the US dollar. Americans moving here don't need to worry about exchange rates, international transfers, or banking headaches. Politics are stable, infrastructure is good, the internet is fast, and utilities rarely fail. And the expat community is huge. Walk into a cafe in Boquete, and chances are you'll meet a retired U.S. veteran telling Vietnam War stories, or a couple from Texas bragging about their new garden. A funny story from Boquete, a highland town known as the Coffee Paradise, tells of an American who, after receiving his pensionado card, threw a party for the entire neighborhood. His Panamanian neighbors asked in surprise, "Did you win the lottery?" He laughed. "No, I just had to prove $1,000 a month, and the government gave me discounts on everything. I feel like I really did win the lottery." Retirement should not be the days spent counting every dollar just to pay bills. It should be the time when you wake up to see the sunrise by the beach, hear more laughter than sighs, and live a life that is simple yet full. These countries give you that chance. With just your Social Security or monthly pension, you can turn retirement into the most beautiful chapter of your life. If your heart has skipped even a single beat, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue exploring new paradises for our golden years together.